Hello, everybody. Captain Marty here. It is Thursday, June the 20th. I'm going to roll out a fishing report for you, and we have a super gold star catch, something a little unusual for you from the offshore waters. I'll be back to tell you about that and more in just a moment, so stick around.
Locally owned and operated since 1971, Billy's Seafood has been providing the locals and visitors of the Outer Banks with some of the freshest seafood you'll find. Not too far off the beaten path down Collington Road in KDH, Billy's Seafood has become a landmark for those seeking top-notch seafood at affordable prices. Billy's Seafood also has beer, wine, grandma's tuna salad, and other groceries as well. To see more, go online to billyseafoodobx.com. Billy's Seafood, putting fresh seafood on your table for over 50 years.
When it comes to general maintenance or major modifications on your diesel vehicle, look no further than Wanchi's Off-Road Diesel Performance in Kill Devil Hills. Master mechanic Ryan Walker developed the plan for having his own auto shop over 20 years ago, and today he owns the premium diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks. To have him and his crew take a look under your hood, give him a call today at 252-715-0025 or find him on social media. Wanchi's Off-Road Diesel Performance, the diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks.
Let's start with the offshore fishing, and that's the way I normally do it. We'll talk about Hatteras. Last night I talked to Captain Jesse Anderson on the Carolina Girl, one of my longtime sponsors, somebody that's a favorite of mine down there at Hatteras Harbor, and she said every day they're catching usually a limit of Baylor dolphin or mahi, and you'll notice from pictures you're not seeing many big gaffers. But when you get around a grass line, a bed of grass, an old floating pallet or whatever, these dolphin or mahi hang around that, and you can catch a limit, which is in the neighborhood of 60 of the Baylors, the 3 to 8 pounders, in 10 or 15 minutes. Talked about that yesterday. Also, occasionally a wahoo in the catches. She actually caught a 20-pound king mackerel. I haven't been hearing much about the king mackerel. There hasn't been a whole lot of effort for them down Hatteras Way, but I'm sure you could catch. I've seen a few. Blackfin tuna, that's slowed down a little bit as the water has gotten really hot. And you got to be careful because we're getting ready to go into the time of year where fishing can get pretty darn scrappy. But they're still catching a few blackfin tuna. They're still catching a few billfish, sails, whites, blues in equal numbers, not many, but a few. And inshore boats are catching, I mentioned the kings, but they're also doing some bottom fishing, triggerfish and tilefish and sea bass, things of that nature. I asked her about the cobia fishing. I haven't heard much about cobia in Hatteras. There is still a scattered cobia being caught, but that also sounds like it's slowed down. Now let's get to our gold star catch at Oregon Inlet. One of my favorite captains, Captain Jamie Ribel and his brother and mate, Jeff Ribel, on the Fido, fishing out of Wanchi's. They've been together longer continuously than any captain and mate, as far as I know, in the history of at least Oregon Inlet, probably Hatteras too. But they are licensed commercially on that boat, and I've been talking to you about the bluefin tunas, the big giant bluefin tunas that showed up a couple days ago. Guys were going along and out there in the Gulf Stream like, what in the world is that over there busting water looking like torpedoes? And it was giant bluefin tuna. Remember how many reports we did on those in January, February, March? Well, evidently there's still some out there, except the season is closed for recreational fishing. It has been. But he's licensed commercially, so they went out there, and in that case you keep a couple of those, I think 3 of the big ones, and they finally found them jumping, put out the baits, and they got piled on by a big one, which they fought for a long time, ended up catching, and it was 103 inches, and I think it was 564 pounds. One fish, one tuna, giant bluefin, 564 pounds, and to that I say double gold star catch to the crew on the Fido. The rest of the Oregon Inlet fleet had good dolphin fishing again. Same thing as in Hatteras, a lot of Baylors. A few yellowfin tuna if you got lucky. I didn't see any major numbers. That's not to say someone might not have done that, but yellowfin tuna in the 40, 45 pound, some 50 pounders. And I also saw catches of sea bass and tilefish, which means that they went with a plan B at some point. And that's usually when the tuna are not cooperating. Inshore king mackerel and Spanish mackerel. There's been some big drum caught outside the inlets. In the inlets, we'll talk more about that in a minute. Surf and pier fishing, everything's holding pretty steady, about what you expect for this time of year. Small bottom fish. If you've got one of your rigs, your spinning rigs ready with a gotcha plug or a sting silver, you might catch a Spanish when they go by. Been some Taylor bluefish. There's been a few big bluefish. There was a tarpon earlier in the week. No, that was last week actually. Off a pier. So it's nothing really, no breaking news, but some of the most enjoyable fishing of the year is to go out there and you want to use like a double hook bottom rig with the freshest bait you can find, and you're going to catch sea mullet, bluefish, croakers, spot, things like that. So that's what's happening. Same thing in the surf. And by the way, if you're looking for speckled trout, the sloughs, usually on the north side of most piers, is a really good spot if you want to wade into the surf. Something about the current will eat out a trough there that speckled trout really like on almost every pier. But that's what's happening there. Now, as far as what's going on in the Sound, I'm going to tell you about that, and we'll talk a little bit about some big drum. I'll be back to do that in just a moment. Hey y'all, Captain Marty here to tell you that when my friends are in the market for a new boat engine or repair, I send them to the best, and that's at Ratcliffe Marine in Belhaven. Ratcliffe Marine is your official Suzuki outboard dealer. Suzuki motors are designed to get you on the water fast and get you back to the dock whenever you're ready. Ratcliffe Marine is also the largest repower center in North Carolina. So when you're in the market for a new motor or you need your Suzuki serviced, go to Ratcliffe Marine, 865 Highway 264 in Belhaven. All right, so back in the Sound, we have what a friend of mine called, and he would know, world-class speckled trout fishing. That's about as good as it gets. You gotta know what you're doing. Most of it requires a boat. But boats, the cheapest way to go boating for speckled trout in the Sound is to book a charter boat. Trust me, for what you pay for a half a day of that, it's not as much as a single monthly boat payment would be if you went out and financed a boat, for instance. But don't give up on the shore fishing. It was really good last week. It slowed down a little bit as things have gotten hotter back at Hatteras Island and around Roanoke Island, places like that. But speckled trout fishing is good. Puppy drum fishing has slowed down. I got that on good authority. There are some, I'll get back to the big drum, red drum. There are some roving schools of big drum. Some of those are in the Sound. I know Brian Dehart has done really well on them. Some are back of the inlets, and some are in the ocean. I know there was some back at the lighthouse, the Body Island Lighthouse, yesterday in the ocean. And it's kind of a matter, you never know where they're going to pop up, but you keep your eyes peeled, and when you find a school on top, you can actually work on them pretty good. So all that was good. Our fishing report, our weather, everything else, I think we're going to be okay at least today and tomorrow. And if anything changes, I'll let you know. But thank you for taking a moment to listen to our fishing report. Check out our story segments too. I'm trying to file 1, 2, or 3 of those a week. So there'll be new ones coming up. I get my help from Justin Bateman. Justin is doing a great job at uploading things. We've got 3 new stories we put up just recently, so go check that out. Go out and wet a line. Have a great day. Be safe. And you know what? You can't catch them in the motel room, so go out and go fishing. Thank you.